If you want to be successful in this life, you have to endure rejection. Be afraid, but have the courage to meet the fear and do the stuff despite that you're afraid.
Beggie Olafs,
a communication coach with a master's in psychology.
His viral tips on charisma and talking to strangers
have helped millions connect with confidence.
Instead of thinking, will they like me? Switch the question.
Will I like them?
Will I like them?
Yeah.
And that takes you from thinking about how you're being perceived by other people to just perceiving other people. And then the attention goes outward. Smiling to begin with, and then throwing a compliment. Like, that could make this person day, and that person is going to be more likely to compliment and give positive energy to other people. And then we have this rippling effect. I truly believe that.
You see somebody at the gym that you want to approach because you're attracted to them. What do you go say? You are in the grocery store and you see a woman. What do you say? In our brains, why is it so hard for people to approach people?
I think they have two big fears.
All right, my man. So I'd love to kick us off by sharing how essentially you caught my attention and how we met. So I'm scrolling through Instagram one day, a couple months ago, and I come across this like really handsome, big dude who's putting out all these clips on basically how to approach people in public and like step by step, like here's what you say, here's how to be more charismatic, here's how to be more confident with them. And I had just listened to a podcast episode actually on Diary of a CEO about charisma. And I've always considered myself a very charismatic guy. But I think I was in this moment where I finally had decided like any fear or veil that I had about being like my true, authentic, weird, like bubbly, playful, childlike self, I'm just gonna like lean into it. I'm gonna stop having like any fear around what types of consequences I would have, which means being very charismatic and very confident. And so I started just eating up your content. And I was like, but why does he look so familiar? Why does he look so familiar? And I realized we're always at Venice Run Club on the same days. And you're like really always at Venice Run Club. That's where you film your content. And then we briefly met at Coffee and Chill. Shout out Coffee and Chill, awesome event series. And so I was like, well, gotta have this guy on the pod because we're getting a ton of comments, a ton of DMs, essentially all pointing back to this core question, which is like, how do I approach people in public? Mm-hmm. Not even just like, what do I say and how do I do it, but also understanding how radically that can change your life. So I want to kick off with a question that you may not have ever been asked. And if anyone's ever asked you this, I want to meet them, which is, who are you? Like really, who are you?
I would like to answer this question just by, I am.
You are.
That would be the most simple way to answer this question. But I think it changed a little bit because you play the society's game. You have all of these definitions of who you are and what you do, so people understand what you do and who you are. But I would say a genuine, honest human being that is doing his best to maximize the potential that lives within him and maximize the impact he can have on the world. And I think that's who I am at the core. Yeah. And then I can define myself in all kinds of ways.
Easier ways.
Yeah, but if in a perfect world, I would just say I am.
Yeah. So you grew up and spent a lot of your life in Iceland. Did you always have that burning desire to do all the things you just mentioned, or did that come up at a certain point in your teenage years or early adulthood?
I would say, I'm a football player at the core, so soccer in the US. And I had this moment when I was 17. I was in the B team. I was watching the A team play. And all my friends were playing in the A team. And I was just watching the game. And I had this thought, or whatever you want to call it, came into my mind. And was like, Beggie, why are you watching the game, but you're not playing? Why are you not playing on the pitch? Yeah. I could have answered like, the coach is an idiot, and just kept on watching the game. But a better answer was to run home. I live like a mile from the pitch. Find some yoga weights that my mom owned that she probably never used, and go out for a run. So I ran 6 miles, and I always tell about this aha moment that changed my life, because I realized at that moment if I wanted to get to the A team or reach some success in football, I could get support from family and friends, whatever, but at the end of the day, it was on me and nobody else.
Yeah.
So from that experience, I trained my ass off and got to the A team, was the captain of the A team, and then you think about like, how about getting to the first team? Yeah, okay. To get to the first team, what do I need to do beyond training? Well, there's nutrition. Then you start to improve that. Then you have recovery. Then you have mindset. Then you have leadership skills. And you kind of develop that. And I started to see the world through the person I could become based on the goals and the vision I had.
Yeah.
So that kind of made the sacrifices worth it. So showing up 2 hours before training and putting in the extra work and being the last person that leaves.
Yeah.
When all the guys were eating unhealthy, I ate healthy.
Yeah.
And although that at the beginning was difficult in the moment, I just felt it after like months and a couple of years that all the sacrifices, they were worth it.
Yeah.
So then I started to sacrifice present Beggie for future Beggie and who he could become.
Yeah, we had a guest on episode like 3 or 4, Philip Folsom. Awesome dude. And he's an anthropologist, leadership coach, former Marine, I want to say, maybe Navy SEAL. I forget exactly his branch of the military. Fucking jacked dude. And he shared that the difference between boys and men is boys don't have the ability to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. Men recognize that they need to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. And like, hopefully, the transition from boy to manhood is a process called initiation. And that's where you learn that, develop those skills. Like the part of your brain actually closes. Would you say that at 17 when that happened, that was like the beginning of your shift from boyhood to manhood and realizing that?
Wow. Could be the start of it. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Definitely, like the realization came, and I knew it like maybe not explicitly, but more like I knew it in my body, but I didn't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
I understand it more now today. But yeah, it's been a journey because then, as we might get into, but I got this coach when I was playing with the champions of Iceland, and it was the first coach that didn't like me. So I was a vice captain of the champions of Iceland. Got this coach and he didn't like me. And he just bullied me in front of the team. And then I lost passion and purpose for soccer. But then you go through these existential crises of like, who am I?
Yeah,
because I only thought about football and my girlfriend at the time. That was my life.
Yeah.
But then you go through this existential crisis of like, what should I do? And then I was like, oh, I could improve myself in soccer. I can do that with academic work, or I can improve my relationship or my relationship with my family, and my physical health and mental health. So I started to see the world through how I could improve myself. And I think when you see that, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And then which is a blessing and a curse. Like I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you. Wouldn't I always have sacrificed the present pleasures for long-term benefits?
Yeah.
Which is great, but at the same time, it's really hard for your mind to just be a silly human being and enjoy present things when you have developed that muscle.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be in the present because you're always thinking about, how is this decision going to influence my life tomorrow, after 3 days, after a year, after 5 years?
Yeah. How do you grapple with this dance, this balance, or this relationship between like, I have long-term goals and ambitions and dreams, and like you're constantly thinking about the future, almost living in the future. I'm like that. I think a lot of ambitious dudes are like that. Yet all that I hear these days is like the secret to happiness and fulfillment is being present. And like smell the roses and enjoy where you're at and recognize like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I feel like there's almost like a devil and angel on my shoulder all the time, where on one hand it's like be ambitious, focus on the future. On the other hand, it's like just enjoy where you're at. So how do you look at that balance?
Orient yourself to the future, have vision and have the goals, and then focus on the day. And I think being present is not associated with like, I can be present and still working on my goals for my future, if you understand. So if I'm working on some creative tasks, I can be present when I'm doing that and experience what we call in positive psychology the flow state, which is the best state ever. Best state ever. And I can still be present in that state. And I'm not thinking exactly about the future in that state. But I do think some of the decisions, though, you have to be, it's difficult to decide to go on the beach to just be for 20 minutes instead of sending 5 emails.
Yeah.
That's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
And I think that balance is pretty hard. Like, okay, the clock is 6 in the evening. Sunset is beautiful outside. I want to go and see the sunset and just be just with myself and connect to nature. But at the same time, there are these 5 emails that I could send now, which might be helpful if you look at myself from a success standpoint. That 5 emails input is probably going to bring me more output than chilling in the sunset.
Yeah.
But I would rather be more a human being and less successful, and being able to give myself time to just be, than being constantly in doing mode.
Yeah.
And be 10% more successful in the future.
Sure. I'm gonna catch ourselves right now because we're already in it. Like we went right in. So before I do that, let's kind of talk a little about like who you are, why we're here, and all that stuff. So, when did you put out your first piece of content about charisma and how to approach people in the wild?
Yeah, that was probably in November, something like that.
Like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Why? Why'd you do it?
So I've always seen my social media platform as a tool to impact the world.
Yeah.
And my purpose is to create a ripple effect through improving people's personal, professional, and social lives.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the most important thing about meaning, health, and happiness in your life are the quality of your relationship. Then I took it a step further. Okay, how can you develop high quality relationship? And I really realized that it comes down to communication. And then I thought to myself, there's a lot of people afraid of rejection, saying the wrong thing, embarrassed in their head.
So my last episode.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection. So we're going to get into that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I thought to myself, I've learned, because I'm a trained coaching psychologist, I got a master in coaching psychology, and that's basically a master's program in communication, in a sense, on one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot, and when I learned that, I noticed that a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
And it's complex but simple. So I thought to myself, it was basically, I think it was pretty random. I just saw this video. I thought, I've learned these skills, so let's just try to put this video on and put some captions and some song. And I think that first video got like 130 million views or something.
130 million views.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That was the second video that like blew my channel up. And basically is the reason why the channel has been.
And why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're trained professional psychologist, essentially. Why is it so hard for people in their brain, in our brains, why is it so hard for people to approach people?
I think there are 2 big fears that we have in life. It's either the fear basically of death, and then it's fear of social rejection. Because these were probably the 2 of the biggest things that, would kill us when we were evolving as a human species. Because when I got rejected by the group, I was going to be alone, and then I was probably more likely to be to die. So I do think that you want to be and that tells us that you want to be likable. So if you say something wrong, or you come across differently than the person is perceiving you, then you have basically the fear of that person not liking you and then rejecting you. And that's why you go through these loops in your head.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason. It's the reason why we are so afraid of getting rejected.
Yeah. Do you have a fear of rejection, or have you ever?
Yeah. I'm a human being, so definitely I've felt the fear of rejection for sure.
Yeah. I struggle with this one. someone recently on this podcast asked me if I have a fear of rejection, and I was just like, no. I just don't think I ever really did or do. I definitely have like insecurities that guide me and stuff, and I've worked on those over the years, but the fear of rejection was never really a thing for me. And so then I been going on rants about this lately, and sometimes like inappropriately, clearly, because people are getting upset, where I'm like, honestly, dude, like if you're a man and you have a fear of rejection, like it's being a huge pussy. Because really, like, that's your fear? Is it like someone's gonna say no to you? You're gonna be exactly the same as you were 0.5 seconds before you did the thing if you got rejected. It's like not that big of a deal. Save your fears for something more scary, like getting punched in the face or like getting killed or getting cancer or like a tarantula. I think tarantulas are terrifying. But I'm like, I don't know, fear of rejection, that one doesn't ring to me. And so I started saying that, and all these people are like, bro, that's like not. A lot of people have a huge fear of rejection. What are you talking about? So I've been struggling with this of like, is it just me? Like, why do so many people struggle with rejection, and what's going on here? And you just explained it quite well. It's refreshing to hear a man just be like, no, I have a fear of rejection for sure at times.
So have you never, like, let's say, look, the case where the reason why I've experienced the fear of rejection is like I've sent a risky text to girls.
Yeah.
And what is the fear that is coming from me when I'm sending that text? That's the fear of they're not going to say yes, or they're not going to answer, or whatever. That's the small. I don't often experience fear of rejection, but I do definitely.
Yeah.
So like, have you never experienced the fear that somebody is going to reject you?
I mean, I can't say it's fear though. You know, because it was like, okay, sure, the feeling in your stomach of like sending that risky text and then not knowing how they're going to react, if at all, or respond, if at all, or like it might get you canceled or something. And I don't know, could ruin your life, right? But for me, I've certainly felt like more of a hesitation or a nervousness, but more about like, how do I reduce the risk here? How do I like reduce the chances of rejection versus like a fear of it happening?
I see.
I don't know. It's something I'm kind of like trying to figure out. It's a tricky one.
Do you think, I'm not gonna twist this podcast on you, but do
Feel
you think
free.
do you think you're like then preventing yourself to be able to be rejected, and that's why you never felt the fear of rejection?
I think it's actually the opposite, where I'm like, I kind of appreciate the rejection.
I see.
It's just like either way I win. Like I learn, or I take the risk. Either it is successful or I learn something.
Exactly.
And it's like, live in that. That's exciting. That's like growth mindset only, abundance mindset only. I can't really remember, quite frankly, like back to, you know, middle school or high school. I'm sure there were times I know actually for a fact there were times where I was like afraid to go talk to the girl in public, or like ask a girl to dance, or ask someone for their number. And quite frankly, looking back, I'm like, you were such a wuss. Like, I have judgment for that kid. Or I sure have some grace, like I feel for him, but it was like, what were we so afraid of?
Yeah.
There was like no consequence. The consequence was so little.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For me, it's the problem is not being afraid of rejection. I think the problem is acting despite you're afraid. Because if you want to be successful in this life, you have to endure rejection.
Do it scared. Like,
I mean, yeah. And I think, like, don't be afraid. I hate that message. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Be afraid, but have the courage to meet the fear.
Nice.
and do the stuff despite that you're afraid. Because if you want a wonderful woman in your life, you're going to have to approach a load shit of women.
Yeah.
Like thousands of women. And maybe you get 999 rejections. But that one could be your future wife.
Yeah, that's fucking worth the 9.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
Same with the podcast. You were doing the podcast. I imagine you've sent 300 messages to people. Probably, sure. I'm estimating you're getting like 100 response maybe, and maybe 30, 40 approved to come on. Something like that. But to be able to get the people on, you have to send all of these emails.
Yeah.
It's the same. And I mean, when I applied to a PhD program in America, I applied to 16. 15 rejected me. 1 approved me. That has changed the course of my whole life. So it's with everything. It's with business, relationships. You just have to put in the reps.
Yeah.
So I think my point is being afraid is fine, totally fine.
Yep.
But not acting because of the fear is not fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I almost want to ask, like, instead of calling it like fear of rejection, there's probably another like short phrase we can either replace that with, or like, I don't know, make friends with the potential for rejection, right? Or you know, you actually framed it quite well. Just like lean into, you know, the fear of it, do it regardless.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, so I'd love to really just like, let's see how long this will play out, but ask you the questions around like, okay, so now approaching people in public. Obviously a lot of men want to be really good at approaching women in public. Also a lot of people want to be really good at going up to someone at a networking event and just like being like, hi, who are you? And like creating a serendipitous opportunity for a new partnership in business or a deal or whatever. People want to do the same for many other places that are just not romantic. Where do you start? Like, what's the first step? You identify a person that you want to go connect with. Like, what do you do first? And you're terrified.
You get out of your head.
How? Like, I hear that a lot. Like, get out of your head, get into your body. Like, how?
Action.
Okay.
So let's say I see a person that I want to connect to. And I know I want to connect with that person.
Yeah.
Then my head starts to go, oh no, this person is talking to somebody else. Oh no, it's not their time for it. Oh no, I'm gonna get rejected or whatever it is. And then you'll be looping in your brain for the whole event or the whole run club session or the gym session or whatever it is. And then you don't act it out.
Yeah.
But then you're also, you know, like when you're in your head, you're also just always attending to that person. You're like, I should talk to him now. No, I don't do it. Exactly, etc. So I think first step, getting out of your head. And what I mean by getting out of the head, to make it a little bit more practical, is that there's no difference between being self-conscious and being miserable. If you're looping in your mind constantly, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And actually, like, studies show it, like people who use I, me, myself, they are more depressed than people that use he, them, they, etc.
Share more on that.
Yeah. So, because we're so obsessed with ourselves, some people, that we're always thinking about the universe centers around us. So everybody's perceiving me. How will this person perceive that I will do this? I am the center of the universe. But when that happens, you're more in your brain and analyzing every word that you say and how you act with your body, and if you say the correct thing, what you did in the past, what you're going to do in the future, etc. You're always in your own internal world. But we know this from psychology. The more you turn your attention outside of yourself to other people and nature and mission, whatever it is, the better you feel. Mm-hmm. So when you can shut that off, the internal inner dialogue that you're having before approaching the person, and move into action again, despite the fear,
yep.
And you just walk up to the person without even having to plan what you're going to say. You could have something like, hi, I'm Beggie, or hi, what brings you to this event?
Yep.
You could have some questions in your mind, but like just going to the person and knowing that you will figure out that something will come out of your mouth when you meet that person.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have that exactly figured out. Okay, I'm going to say this, and then this person is going to say this, and then I'm going to respond to this. Like, no. Just go to the person, say, hi, I'm Jake, I'm Beggie.
Yep.
What brings you to this event? Like, hey. And that doesn't matter. And for me, what has helped me a lot, and the people I've been around to, take the pressure off of the conversation. It's not a means to an end. And you don't want to treat that person as a means to an end.
Yeah.
Treat it as an end. Just go into the conversation with the intention, I'm going to give this person something today. Might be a compliment, might be presence, might be being curious about them, and people love and other people are curious about them. Yep. So I'm just going to give them something.
Yep.
I'm not going to go into the conversation trying to get their Instagram, their email, business opportunity, a relationship opportunity. And when you take that off and you just come from the perspective of giving, you're going to take the pressure off the conversation.
Yeah.
And the second thing is a big part that people think a lot like, will this person like me? And I want to be a likable person.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest shift in confidence can be, instead of when you go to, let's say, a job interview, or in this case, you approach a girl that you're attracted to, or a business person that you want to, do something with. Instead of thinking, will they like me? Switch the question.
Will I like them?
Will I like them?
Yeah.
And that takes you from perceiving how you are thinking about how you being perceived by other people,
Yep.
to just perceiving other people, and then the attention goes outward.
Yep.
And when the attention is to the person, you're not thinking about how they're perceiving you,
Yep.
because you're just curious and listening to the person.
And it's funny because probably like 8 out of 10 times, so I go into a lot of situations now of like, do I like them? And I realize 8, maybe 9 out of 10 times, I don't. And it's like, oh, wow, to have like the power in this, or it's not like a power dynamic, but like, oh, like the confidence, and like, turns out like, I don't really like them that much. So what was I so upset about? What was I so scared of? Someone gave me this really interesting challenge a little while back because I explained like, yeah, I'm joining this new co-working space. It's like a new co-working space that opened. I'm getting involved. I want to like stop working at home so much. And I'm excited to join. It's part of the effort of making a lot of new friends in this community. And you're like, oh, I've got like a challenge for you. I love like 30-day challenges. I love challenges. And we're like, what you should do is every single person you meet there, whether they work there or like at the place, or they're like a member there, and regardless of how successful they are, whether they're the barista or like the guy who parks your car, or like the owner of the place, or like a huge executive or a celebrity who hangs out there, all of them and everyone in between, your job is every week for each person, learn like one thing that's going on in their life that you can ask them about periodically. For example, the guy who parks my car, I learned that he hurt his back this weekend. So I showed up today. Hey man, how's your back feeling? And he's like, you remember that? It actually feels way better. Thank you. Gave me parking for free today just by being friendly. Like magical shit happens by just sort of that game. I went back to my friend who gave me that challenge. I was like, this was like some powerful shit. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of interesting stuff has just happened by giving a shit about people around me.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what were you doing there is that you saw people as people.
Yes.
You didn't see people as labels.
100%.
And when you see people as people, you kind of talk to their humanity or their soul, and you're not thinking about if they are the CEO or they clean the toilets at Gold's or whatever. Because, and I think maybe if people are stressed, testing this in low risk situation, the people I love most to talk to are the people who nobody talks to.
Yeah.
It's Ray that works at Air1 who opens the door, and I talk to him for 5 minutes. You talk to him as
yeah.
well? Yeah.
And or have you met the dude who like directs you where to park?
Yes.
Loves his job.
Exactly.
He's like the happiest guy ever. He's the man.
I walk past Hume. His name is Carlos. He parks the car there. Yeah. I have a conversation with him each time I walk past by there to go to my home.
Yeah.
Like these are my favorite people to connect to. These are kind of the miserable people in a sense.
Yeah.
And just being able, to lighten up the day. But this is also a low risk situation to try out your skills.
Yep.
And I do think the trick there, I learned this from Brené Brown when I was doing public speaking, is that seeing the audience not with all these titles and these where they are in the social status, but seeing people literally naked, and not like naked as in no clothes, but naked without any titles. And that helped me a lot when I was like doing public speaking or engagement after a CEO of a big company in Iceland, because first thing I thought like, what the fuck are you doing coming after the CEO, this guy, to talk to his like employees? And I was like, these are just people. He's just a person. These are just people.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome what you did there but that has gotten me into some trouble because I was working with this organization in Iceland. I think it was, the biggest organization in Iceland, and I was always pounding the CEO, just like my friend.
Yeah.
And that's like sometimes in some places, like sometimes people...
You do need to actually step it up a little.
Yeah.
All right, so I love the like tactical. Let's play a little bit of a game. I'm going to throw like scenarios out there that I think are universally moments that people feel awkward to say hello to someone.
Okay.
I want you to share like, what's the line? What do you say? And I hate that people are like, there's no line, right? Girls ask me all the time, like, what's your pickup line? I'm like, there's no line. The line's just like, hey, I'm Jake. But it's not a line. But okay, scenario number one is you see somebody at the gym that you want to approach because you're attracted to them. What do you go say?
Gym is tricky for me.
I think gym's tricky for everyone. That's why it's number one.
Yeah. I don't approach girls in the gym itself.
Yep. I think that's a good rule to follow. Don't do that.
But those who I've talked to in the gym, I've seen them every day for half a year or a year.
Okay.
And I start like looking at them, and then we smile at each other, and then one day I strike up a conversation.
And it's always the like, are you using that? Thanks.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I would say on the way in or outside of the gym, and you can say inside on the gym, and you see a girl that you're attracted to, you can say, what are you going to work on today?
Nice.
And she says, oh, I'm going to do a chest day. Oh, chest day. That's my favorite day. What is your favorite chest exercises?
Yep.
So it's just like you use the context in the gym to be able to have a more conversation with that girl.
Okay. Funny because whether we meant to or not, this was the context of like a man approaching a woman in the gym. Let's flip it. What if you're a woman and you see a man that you're attracted to in the gym? What do you do? Because I feel like the stakes are different because everyone's like, women don't want to be approached in the gym. But the funny thing is men do want to be approached in the gym.
The first thing I thought, I would love to be approached in the gym.
So, okay. And I talked to a lot of female friends. I had a conversation with two yesterday at the office of like, they're like, I never approach men. And I'm like, they want you to. Men are terrified to approach women now because of lots of reasons. So like, let's start approaching men. How about that? What does a woman say to a man at the gym?
First, I want to grab your point is that women have to signal to the man that they are approachable.
It's safe.
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
In the old days, women tend to miss some things and men tend to pick it up.
Yep.
And that was...
They like drop a pen.
Yes,
was like
exactly. That was woman's approach to approach in a sense.
Yep.
So I want to take a note of that because if you get that signal as a man, men don't always notice those signals.
We're terrible at it.
We're not really good at it. But we should be better at it. But at least you give the permission for the guy to approach you. So definitely, if there's a little bit of eye contact or you're smiling, or I think that's good for women. But if a woman is approaching a man in the gym, what could she say? I think maybe something like, let's say I'm wearing an on shirt in the gym. I'm like, but what is that brand? Or something.
It's just an observation.
Yeah, observation. Yeah. Or like a man is doing an exercise. Oh, this happened to me the other day. A woman that has seen me squatting, she asked me to give her tips on squatting.
Good for her.
And that was pretty good to get me engaged. And
she's like, I'm actually a pro lifter. I don't need these tips, but I just wanted to talk to this guy.
So I think that asking for, and I think that's probably a better way because then men feel like useful.
Feels
and
like a hero.
Value. Exactly.
Yep.
So I think that's the smartest way for women to approach a man.
Yep. Okay. All right. Next scenario. You are a man and you are in the grocery store and you see a woman just doing her thing, getting groceries. What do you say? Maybe she has headphones in. Maybe she's like kind of also on her phone a little bit. She doesn't necessarily look super approachable, but like you want to shoot your shot.
When they, like me personally, when they're not approachable and they have something in their ears and they're just doing their thing and they're not even looking at me, I'm like, you got your answer there. Mm-hmm. But if they are, I would definitely approach them from the front, not from the back or from the side. And then I probably, let's say she had a shopping cart, I'll probably point at some product in the shopping cart and I would say, I've heard, excuse me, and I tried to like ask her to take it out, and then I was like, I saw this product that you had there called, I don't know, let's say
some rice,
basmati rice, whatever, and I would ask me like, how do you know how to cook them, or like, are they good?
Yep.
And then I would start.
It doesn't matter if you actually give a shit about the rice.
doesn't matter.
It's just like pick the closest thing you can find to start the
something.
conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Other way around. Woman sees a man in the grocery store. What does she say?
That's so. I flipped it around. It's so interesting to me.
I think it's actually kind of the same thing, same approach.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the context is the goat in starting these conversations.
Sure. Okay, next one. You're at a bar, like the place that people go to meet people and they all hope they're going to meet people. You're dressed up, but you're drinking. There's booze typically involved. And yet for some reason that like wave comes over you where you see the person and you're just kind of like, you get frozen and you can't just immediately go take the step. Say hello.
I'm going to steal this one. I would say, what's a pretty bar like you doing and a girl like that?
Nice.
No, there was a guy
purposefully embarrass yourself.
there was a guy that commented on my post and it was hilarious. I would probably say, I would say, what brings you here to this pub tonight? Or I would just lead with a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, you look amazing. I'm Beggie. What's your name?
Nice. I got advice recently, and I've used this before on and off for years. I actually think it's great, which is ideally you're with a buddy and you can go up to a woman or a group of women and walk up and say something to the tune of, can you help settle a debate for us? And obviously you got to have something in mind of like, whose shoes are more ugly, mine or his? Like, and make it a little self-deprecating. Don't pump yourself up. Be like, whose shoes are more ugly, his or mine? And like, now you're just go from there. That's like easy.
You spark the curiosity by saying that, can you settle a debate for us?
Can you settle a debate for us? And now you just go from there. Like that opens up the entire conversation. And I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
What are some other common scenarios that people find themselves in that you think where they struggle to approach?
Coffee shops. Probably.
Standing in line, or
Yeah.
you're both sitting at tables,
Yeah, both.
headphones on. Yeah, what do you do?
Standing in the row, I think you should talk to the person who's in front of you or behind you, no matter if she's a woman or a man.
Yeah. Well, actually, why? Why is that important?
Because talking to strangers will give you opportunities and connections that might do a lot for your life. And that could be, that person in the line could be CEO of a big company that will give you a job, or it could be somebody who could turn into a great friend. It could be your future wife. It could be a friend of your future wife. You never know.
Yeah.
And just getting those reps in. So I would say that's the reason why you should talk to people. And if you take that all the way, I think also just like all the people matter. We should talk to each other and connect, and because it's good for your well-being. How about that?
I had this, it was an epiphany a couple weeks ago, actually. And looking back, like really, it took me 30 years to like have this epiphany. It seems so simple, but it actually may not be that simple. And it's around energy. I'm really curious from a psychology standpoint and also a like spiritual, like bigger picture standpoint, what might be going on here from your perspective. So here's what's up. I was at a coffee shop in Denver. I was having a terrible day. I was feeling under the weather, like just sniffly, and my throat was hurting. It was so gray out and gloomy. I had a flight later that evening that had already been delayed twice, and work was it was just a terrible day. And I'm at this coffee shop and I'm standing in line, and I'm kind of in my like default moving through the motions mode where I'm like, hey, I'll have, a green tea, thanks. And then they're like, I'm not even looking in the eyes of the barista. And then they're like, just going to ask you a few questions. And they flip the thing over and I'm just like, no tip. And I move on. And for some reason, like something just hit me in that moment to like just turn that off and turn on charismatic Jake and just like go make friends with the barista. So I was just like, I'm just going to decide, literally just decide to step into this energy right now. And so I look at the barista and I was like, polka dot shirt. And he's like, just got it. I was like, love that shirt. Where'd you get it? And he's like, I got it at Uniqlo. I'm like, Uniqlo? I actually haven't been there in years. Like, is there one around here? Because I kind of feel like I want like a similar shirt to that. And where can I go pick it up? He's like, there's actually one right down the street. Well, it gives me the address for it, blah, blah. And then I'm looking, they had some like really cool hats on display, and I collect hats. I love hats. And so I'm trying some on. He comes over to me. He's like, I'll tell you what, we actually have like a limited edition hat that we haven't put out yet. It's in the back. Let me go grab it for you. And he comes out with this like limited edition hat. I don't know. That's cool. I got like a limited edition thing just because now we're friends with the barista. Long story short, small little win, if you will. But that like slight interaction could have gone in very different directions, and then I probably wouldn't have ended up with this like cool limited edition hat. Small thing, of course, but like could have been way bigger than that. Only because I chose to just step into a slightly different energy that in that moment. So my mood, energy that I was putting out there was, I would say, probably a lot more attractive, a lot more confident, etc. Pretty much has the power to change my life in that like one, and I probably have 40 of those interactions a day. And I started thinking, what if I just like started approaching not even every interaction like this, but like 10% more interactions like this with random people in my life? Like, where would life go? And so I started doing that lately, and it's been like the most incredible month of my life with just like stuff, like invites to things and new friends and like free merch and all kinds of shit that's just been incredible. And I'm like, this is like pretty profound. It took me 30 years to get here. So what's going on there? What's the advice that we take away from this and share with people? What do you think about this?
So, to fully answer the question, when you approach talk to the people, it's just a basic compliment. You're having a good energy and you're having a conversation, and then you part ways, and then all of these good things happen.
Yes, and even in the interaction itself, like something cool comes out of
exactly.
it. But I could have just easily been in my default and like not made it an extraordinary interaction. I could have just been like, I'll have that coffee, $2.99, thanks,
Exactly.
swipe, goodbye, move on with my day.
Yeah, there's two things that comes up for me. That there's two concepts of being a positive energizer. That's the thing.
Positive energizer?
Energizing, yeah.
Okay.
If you map at a company, if you map positive energizer, they actually predict performance, employee performance. So if you're a leader with positive energy, your employee is going to predict, they're going to perform better. It's more influential than information network and influence network, which is quite amazing. So when you talk to people and you kind of want to run through, I explain it like this: I want to run through walls after I talk to them.
Yeah.
There's something about the person, how she interacted with you, that makes you just like you get energized.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think these people like you is because you positively energize them. And they say, I want more of that. Oh, I have this party. I met this guy, Jake. I'm going to invite him to this party.
Yeah.
And because you gave them positive energy, and maybe it was you gave them a compliment. If I know it correctly, you listened really well. You asked them questions. You maybe celebrate their successes, which is a big thing in psychology as well, active, constructive responding. So if you would tell me now, like, you told me earlier today, I was going to take this example. You said me that the podcast has been going really well.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring this up in the podcast. I was just like, I could have said like, nice, or like I could have said, yeah, but when I'm supposed to arrive today, or I could have said, yeah, but like, isn't that causing you more stress? Don't you have more attention on you and everything? Or I could have said, like I wanted to say now, but not in the message, is that, dude, I'm so happy for it. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah.
What is the most exciting and scary thing you're experiencing now?
Like play with the game.
But yeah, basically when people are telling you positive news from their lives, how you respond is going to affect a lot how much positive emotion they will experience and your social bonding. So if I celebrate your successes like it's my own success, I'm gonna instantly, our bond is going to increase, our social bond, and I'm gonna like you more as a person. Then the last concept, because we've talked about positive energizer and active constructive responding or capitalizing, it's a concept new called positivity resonance.
Positivity resonance.
Yeah, which Barbara Fredrickson, she wrote a book called Love 2.0, which argues that love is not this big thing that is burst of like this one person that you're going to love for your life, but love is found in small micro moments between people, whether they are close or strangers on the street. And what happens when we share something positive, like you were sharing with, like asking the barista where she got her t-shirt and she says Uniqlo, and you had that conversation. You're experiencing positive motions in that moment, and you're also your biology are in synchrony, and this is going to give you a burst of energy through the day to both of you, and this is a key foundation of meaning in our life and our health as well. And I think, yes, it's energy, it's positive energy, and the best thing about positive energizer, it's like it doesn't deplete.
It's unlimited.
Yes.
Yeah. It's only additive. Is that a good
Exactly.
word for it?
Yeah.
It's actually like really fucking cool.
It's so cool.
Very exciting.
It is.
Okay. Dig it. Based off that, maybe we readdress some of the opening lines or quote unquote like pickup lines, if we will, of approaching people.
Yeah.
I almost want to like come up with a script for folks of like, you know, you see someone. I also want to probably start by like a disclaimer of this is not, I think something that really stuck with me years ago was I was out with a group of guys in Denver on like a Saturday night, and the intention was let's go meet girls. And I was in a conversation with a couple women that the other guys found to be not attractive. And they came up to me like, dude, come on, don't waste your time with that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, don't waste your time with that. Like, you only have like 3 hours tonight. Like, don't waste your time with people that you don't see a future with. Like, come on. And that really pissed me off. It was like, first of all, who the fuck are you to decide like who I do and don't find attractive? Second, and I just like was like, you guys go do your thing. Like, I'm gonna hang out. These girls are awesome. Like, I'm loving talking to them. They're super fun. So I think it's really important to recognize. I think a lot of dudes see that. I think a lot of women might see that as well. Just people see it as like, don't waste your time with folks that don't seem like they would be the right fit for you and what you need. Life's too short, or you have a clock ticking, whatever it might be. It's like, but what if this person you're talking to right now either one surprises you, which is awesome, or two, connects you with the person. Like you build the trust with them. Now they're like, you know what, my cousin, you should totally meet them. And then that's the love of your life, or that's your new co-founder, or that's like your next roommate or whatever. So I don't want it to just be like, here's how to pick people up romantically or sexually, but like, how do you just start conversations with people as a magnet, as an attractive, like just everyone I connect with is additive, and great magical things come of it, regardless of the quote unquote end goal that we already have decided isn't going to be in our minds, because we don't operate in the end mindset. It's just do it for the sake of doing it. So, okay, what were some of our scenarios? One was at the gym. Anything new we want to address there?
At the gym?
Yeah, you approach someone at the gym. Super like charismatic, additive mindset when you go talk to somebody. What's a good line? Context
or compliment? I saw this woman in the gym this morning. I've developed a little bit of relationship, so I've talked to her before. But I saw it, and I saw she got highlighted in her hair. And I just pointed out her hair and said, your hair looks awesome.
Nice.
So it's either compliment.
Yep. Or
just like an excuse is like, how much do you got left in this machine? That's a classic one.
Yeah. I think of a like, just go up to someone, hand up, you're crushing it. Like, just want you to know, excuse me, you do the headphone thing, just want you to know you're crushing it right now.
Yeah.
And then walk away, like it's fine. You don't need to like do anything more than that, but like that's additive. That brings them some positive energy that they're probably gonna go like put another plate on the bar after that, because they like, wow, someone sees that I'm crushing it, I'm trying. Yeah. I think that's a good one.
I think also just in general, giving compliment and just leaving and not expecting anything. Like that also makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
Like if you say something and you genuinely mean it, and then they're thinking about, this is the thing, the person that you said it to, they're thinking about like, who was this guy?
Sure.
And wonder if I see him again, etc.
I'm a big fan of 30-day challenges. I think I mentioned that before. Just gave me the idea of like, we should do a 30-day challenge. It's like 30 days, give one stranger a like pretty decent sized compliment a day and walk away.
I'm in.
And just to like see what happens.
Yep.
Not just in like all the results that happened for your life, but then also like track it beyond that. Like what happened the rest of the day after that? What happened like to your friends? Or I'd just be really curious, like energetically in the world around you, like what type of positive impact is reverberating from just like one pretty meaningful compliment a day minimum for 30 days. I don't know. You ever done anything like that or seen any stories come up there?
From interacting for 30 days?
Just this idea of like, I'm going to really commit to just giving out a lot of compliments to people.
Yeah. It's just, I think what you were talking about before, like you were reactive, feeling sorry for your flights and that you were under the weather and everything. You were in your head. You were
Totally.
just being miserable.
Yeah.
And you could have stayed that for the whole day and the day after and the next 3 days. But you decided to be responsive. You decided to be, oh, I'm going to switch it up. And it's just another level of aura and charisma when you're just, I'm going to just throw it out there today. I'm going to walk besides people and then I'm going to say, their shoes look awesome. Or like, you're going to pound it to the person that works in the lobby at Gold's Gym and say, damn, it's always so good to see you in the morning. Like, I come here for the gym, but I mainly come here to get the energy from you before I go into the gym.
Yeah.
It's just like, it feels just so good. And what happens is that these things have a way more impact than we can imagine.
Yeah.
Just before I came to the States, I read this book called The Gift of Influence. And it kind of hit me hard. He was taking this concept of that you can influence about 3 person daily, and that will amount to X amount of number at the end of your life. I think it was around average 75,000 or something, whatever, at least. But in all of your interactions at the end of your life, imagine just a whole stadium, just Wembley Stadium in England, something, 80,000 people. How you interact with those people is going to determine if they're going to boo when you're going to die, or they're going to cheer like, yeah, Beggie was a great human being. Like, he had such much impact on my life. And I do think that, okay, I'm sometimes selfish. This makes me feel fantastic. I'm not going to try to lie that I'm just a virtuous person and I'm just doing it for other people. Of course I'm doing it for myself. It makes me feel great. And I think that's all right, that it makes me feel great and other people great as well.
Yep.
But something small, like just smiling to begin with and then throwing a compliment, like that could make this person day, and that person is going to be more likely to compliment and give positive energy to other people. And then we have this rippling effect. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And we have this rippling effect. So let's say you influence one person, and that person meets, I don't know, 100 people in that day or something. And maybe she influences like 20 of those. Imagine the compound effect of just that small moment of positive interaction that you decide to do can have a much more greater effect than you realize.
Sure. I don't want to change the topic, but this gives me a couple questions come to mind that are like a little bit adjacent to this.
Yeah.
What's the power of remembering somebody's name?
Remembering somebody's name signals that you're listening in the conversation. A name means a lot to us. So when if you're at a party and there's like so much, it's called the cocktail party effect, if I remember correctly. Loud music, and it's just like everything is bouncing around. But then somebody would say Jake, there's somewhere in the party.
Yeah.
You probably hear it because it's your name. So your name is so important to you. But I think it demonstrates that you're carefully listening to the person. And when you tell somebody's name, and I think it was in the Dale Carnegie book, I remember all people's names, it's kind of signaling that you are more than just strangers. Like you're a step beyond that. And that creates more, I would say, trust. And that opens a gateway to the conversation. And also you realize that because the person remembers your name, you realize that the person was cared for you and she cared enough to remember your name.
Yeah.
So I think that's an instant.
I have such a hard time remembering people's names, and a lot of people do. I've been trying. I hear that trick that like when you meet somebody new and you ask them their name, like spell their name to them.
Yeah.
Like, what's your name? Like, what's your name?
Beggie.
Beggie. Beggie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is
and
that
like
the reason? No.
just by saying it out loud, it's now imprinted in my brain, and like I'm less likely to forget it. So it's actually a trick for myself that it is to like make you feel good. It's funny when you meet someone who's like, I'm Jen, and you're like, Jen, Jen? She's like, fucking yes, obviously it's Jen. But I don't know, how do you remember people's names in modern times when no one can remember names?
This is what I do because I struggle with names as well, especially when you come to America and you meet so many people at once. I remember people's story. So I would normally remember where people grew up, what they did maybe for work, what brought them to Los Angeles. I normally remember that. So when I see a person for the second time, most often I won't remember the name.
Yeah.
Most often.
But you could be like, oh, New York girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, correct me if I got this wrong, but you were raised in OC, right?
She's like, oh my God, you remembered that?
Yeah, you remember that?
Yep. I remember, this was so random, but I remember I met this girl at a party in college, and I was wearing like high top Vans sneakers at the time, and she was also, but hers were purple and mine were just like black and white or something. And all night it was like purple sneakers girl. And like to this day I still remember, like I actually don't even remember her name. I don't, but I do remember what she looked like, her face, everything, and the fact she was wearing these purple sneakers. And so I'm kind of almost thinking like maybe the trick is like something about someone, and then you can kind of go up to them and be like, oh, cheetah print scarf, right? And be like, oh, you remembered that? Or like, oh, curly hair, you like straightened your hair. I don't know. But is that a good tactic? Like taking note of features or something like that? As long as it's kind, obviously.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think associating something you want to remember to something that you know already. Or I think I heard Huberman talked about thinking about something that's unpleasant while you remember people's name.
That helps?
That helps to restore your memory.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good. I just know that remembering in general, I sometimes when I have to remember statistics, let's say I have to remember 50% because in 2021, 50% of men in America reported having no close friends.
Yeah.
And that number has gone from 3% in 990 to 15% in 2021. Remembering the 15, I thought to myself, Vidic, Manchester United, he played in a 15 jersey when he was playing, and he was one of my favorite players. So if you can somehow make that connection, let's say the name is Mari, and I have a friend that name's Mari in Iceland, and I could say, oh, her name is Mari, just like my friend Mari. So if you can make that connection that you already know, then you're more likely to remember.
Yep. Okay. I think that's kind of a big, it might not feel like a big one, but like that's a huge one. So remember people's names, like
It
to
is,
change your life.
definitely, yeah.
Okay, next one. What is the power, if at all, in having really good posture? How you carry yourself through the world, literally carry yourself through the world.
I mean, we're talking about it doesn't matter what you say, more the energy you bring. But I think the quickest thing that people will judge you on unconsciously is probably how you present yourself. So if I'm more like with my closed arms and I'm more like this, unconsciously, maybe not consciously or explicitly, I have already registered that in my brain. Okay, that person is probably anxious, not secure with themselves, not confident, etc.
Sitting back, opening up here.
So
not even gonna. I was about to cross my hands, not gonna do it.
No. And sometimes I'm like when you were saying this, I was like kind of like this, and I was like, oh.
Sure.
But when you have like your chest moving like out and forward, and you walk like you have good confidence, and you walk slowly, and it's just other people are gonna perceive that differently. So it's going to be. They're going to perceive that probably more than what you say, to be honest. Like how you behave in the conversation with your body.
What do you do when you're in a conversation with someone and you kind of feel like you don't know what to say next, and now you're just sort of like awkwardly standing there and you just feel like it's sort of dying out, and you're kind of like, okay, bye. How do you prevent that from happening?
I mean, I listen to them very carefully. So they feel like they're not going to get interrupted. And then I'm not thinking about the question I'm going to ask them next. I'm just going to trust myself that I will use my curiosity of prompting something more about she was talking about. And you can always signal the vibe that you're getting. So if she's like engaged in the conversation and willing to talk more, I'll ask more questions. If I'm only asking questions and she seems not to be really engaged or interesting, then I'm like, if it fades off, I just leave and like whatever.
Yeah.
Or like I say, nice to meet you. What was your name again? Oh, have a good time. I'll see you soon. Say a goodbye. But I won't sweat it. I think you can signal if people are like, because I think the tricks is in social interactions when you're meeting people for the first time, you want to leave at some point, and you want to have the interaction. Generally, you want to have them brief. It's like,
why is that?
I think it's respectful, because like the person is maybe having all the friends at this event or whatever. Also, it signals that you can give this person a little bit of headlines from your life and understand a little bit headlines of that life. That leaves something out of a picture. Like, oh, I'm curious about this person.
Yeah.
And then when you're meeting people for the first time, you just kind of want to be, showing respect by, if they are, because sometimes I am on an event and I'm ready to engage in a half an hour conversation if I like the person, and I'm willing to do that. But I can also signal that with the people I'm talking to. So if I feel like the conversation is like the person doesn't really want to have this conversation now, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to end it by either saying, hey, it was nice to meet you. I'll see you maybe around on these events. If there were some signals of spark and you're not going to see the person again, I would say maybe, hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but like, what's the best way to connect?
Yeah.
And then she might say, oh, phone number, Instagram, whatever. And I'll just leave.
Yep.
If I know I'm going to see this person again, let's say I've seen this person 2 times at the same event, I'm probably going to see her again. I'll just believe that, and I will wait until the next interaction at the next event.
Yeah.
But I think, I think the biggest takeaway here is that you can gauge how the person is behaving with you in the conversation, if they're attending to you and if they like being in the conversation. And I think you can use that to either continue to ask questions or use that as a signal of closing the conversation, if that makes sense.
I remember years ago, I was with one of my close friends. This is still something I think about a lot, actually. It's interesting. It's one of my close friends, and I think I was talking to a girl, and he was standing there kind of like observing the interaction, and I was interested in her. And then I don't remember how it exactly played out, but it didn't necessarily go in my favor. And as we left, he and I were just talking, and he's like, dude, you didn't give her anything about you to make her be interested in you. Like, all you do is just ask her about her. That's all you did. And I was like, well, isn't that the thing? Like, you just ask lots of questions and like show that you're interested. And he's like, well, yeah, for sure. Like, show that you're interested, but she knows nothing about you. All she really knows is your first name, but she knows, like, you didn't give her anything to like pique her curiosity. So what's the balance for people in not just being cocky and talking about themselves the whole time, because that's one end of the spectrum. And the other end of the spectrum is like giving them absolutely nothing about you except for maybe your name. And so now people have there's nothing to pique their interest about you. What's like the healthy middle ground in terms of how you where do you live there?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I'm definitely biased towards not talking about myself and more listening and asking questions.
Yeah.
But and then use that as a marker. So if I'm talking to somebody and I'm not getting questions back, I've already gotten the answers I need.
Totally.
I'm not gonna devote my energy more to you.
Yeah.
But if whether it's just a person, if the person has any interest in me, that person is gonna ask me a question as well. And then when they ask me a question, I'll tell them all about my story. I'll tell them like what I do, what I'm excited about, etc. But I do think 2 things that come up for me in social interactions, when you can like sneak yourself a little bit in without waiting for the other person to ask you questions. But I also think that's a marker that you shouldn't be talking to this person. But like, let's move on for that. It's when somebody mentions something about their stories. I'm like, I asked you before this podcast, like, Jake, tell me a little bit more about yourself. And you were telling me that you were in New York and then Colorado and that you liked snowboarding and then you liked surfing. And then I could say, hey, I went to Mammoth in January and I snowboard for 3 days. I haven't done it for a while, but it was epic.
Yeah.
What's your favorite mountain?
Yeah.
So you can find things that connect you to. Yeah. And that's a really good way of making people like you and finding some room for a deeper conversation. So that's a good thing to bring yourself in the conversation, to find something that the person is talking about that you can relate to and have experience of. That could be like sports, like we were just talking about. So if you played sports, some kind of a sports, and somebody mentioned some sports, you can relate on that. And that's a big topic.
Yeah.
And I think the second part that I think is really important is being able to, two parts, being able to signal like a little bit of humor there, here and there. So not just being listening and being curious, but also like commenting, like doubling down on something they say, or just making a random humorous joke, because generally people like laughing.
Yep.
So I think you can sneak in a little bit there. Then I do think telling stories is a valuable skill.
Yeah.
So like somebody's talking to you about a specific topic and you're like, oh, I have a story about that. So let's say, take Coffee and Chill, for example. Like, and when you, okay, I'm coming to a theme here. So when comedians, when before the comedy, they do the comedy tour, they have tried their show like 100 times, 200 times.
Yeah.
So they've seen some patterns in what people react to. That's the same in your life. So I try out jokes, and then I always get the laugh at some jokes.
Yeah.
And I use them. I'm kind of bored of them.
A lot of the ones I use, I'm like, I should probably stop.
Exactly.
saying
Yeah.
that joke.
Well, that's working though.
Sure.
So it makes people laugh and increases your connection. So you see that pattern. Like, yeah, like when go to Coffee and Chill and people say like, have you done this before? I was like, I was born in the cold. I'm from Iceland. And then generally people laugh. And I then say, yeah, I was conceived in the cold. Or I take nap in those, and people laugh even more. And I do think related to this is the storytelling, being able to tell short engaged stories with a beginning, middle, and an end.
Yeah.
I do think, let's say it's a topic about, let's take again the ice bath because we're here. People may be asking me like, don't you find ice bath like difficult? Doing ice bath difficult? And I said, you know what? I was in Iceland the last day of 2024. And we went and we hiked this glacier in Iceland. And at the bottom there was this huge, like just water that was freezing cold. And no, when we were hiking down, I said to myself, I have to go in there. So I took all of my clothes out. I was just on, like completely naked. And I went into the freezing water with the glacier above me. Mm-hmm. But that's not the worst, because when I came out of the water, I had to put all my clothes back on, and then I had to walk for 50 minutes to the car. That was really, really hard. So whenever I do ice baths in California, in LA, it's no problem.
Yeah.
So that's like a story that I took the person based on the question they were asking me, or the conversation, or the talk.
And we could even break that down for a second. Like, there's a lot that actually took place in that story.
Mm-hmm.
I learned he's from Iceland.
Yeah.
He fucking climbs glaciers, so he's probably pretty badass.
Yeah.
He jumped in a glacier butt-ass naked, so he's probably got some like adventurous spirit to him. Sounds like a fun dude. He's articulate. Like, there's a lot that was in your 30-second story. Mm-hmm. Like, you gave a whole lot for someone to be interested in.
Yeah. And you can collect those mini stories if you are like in your life that you find interesting. In a sense, I think this is super interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how people, you dissected it really, really well. I don't know how it lands for other people. But at least I know the beginning and the end of my story, and that tells person a lot who I am.
Sure. Totally.
So yeah, I think that if you take it together, it was practice your storytelling and sneak in little stories. Yeah. A little bit of humor and likability, that they can mention some commonality between you and the person.
Where do you practice this?
Everywhere.
Just go out and just do it with literally everyone you can imagine.
Yeah, and like for the people who are afraid of taking the first step, like one thing we know from psychology is that if you take your fear and define your fear, and then you voluntarily meet that fear in steps, you're going to be more courageous in that fear. Mm-hmm. So the first step might be to go to an event. Let's take that one. Yep. And just be there. Next step would be to go to the event and smile at one person. Maybe the next event you smile at 3 person. And then maybe one down the road, I'm going to have one conversation at the event. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I'm going to have 2 and 3. And do you see where I'm going? But the only way you are going to overcome that fear is just you have to make action. Yeah. And just remember, people that are showing up to the events, they want to talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, otherwise why did they go?
Yeah, and if you just listen and ask them questions, people are going to like you. And like everybody, that's why I love to come to a podcast. I know I'm going to talk for so long time without being interrupted, and we're going to have an amazing engaged conversation, and hopefully I will ask some questions.
Yep.
But like, And that just makes me feel really, really good. So everybody wants to talk about themselves and get asked more about their lives and express themselves. So like, if you just, understand that you're giving something to people as well. But I do think the action part, you just have to get in the reps, and there's no way around it.
Totally. Well, that gives me an idea to, as we start to wrap up, I want to ask you this question, which is what's something that not only did I not ask you today, but something that people don't really ever ask you that you wish people asked you more?
I think what came up to my mind was just, I got this question the other day, like, what is in your heart? Because I'm an intellectual person and I like to rationalize everything, and I can say all of the right things, but I am being more connected to my heart and my body and my emotions. So how's your heart doing? I think I would like that question. Because then I can just explain, instead of being giving you an intellectual answer, I would actually go down to my emotional and heart level, and I would actually tell what I'm experiencing as a human being. And I think that would be a good training for me, and also give me space to tell exactly how I'm feeling.
Yeah. How's your heart?
My heart is, I would say it's peaceful. It's full of love. I think it's ready to be shared with another person. Although my heart knows that it's not coming from a need, it's coming from, that would add value to my life. And I would like that. I think my heart is creative, I would say, as well. And my heart just wants me to be. That's what my heart is telling me, is to be more, create more, and giving space for another person to walk into my life.
Thanks for sharing that.
How's your heart?
It feels very full these days, and mostly in the sense of, I think, a big shift that I've had over the last 6 months through a lot of work, a lot of coaching, a lot of breath work, a lot of training, doing hard things, a lot of time alone. And actually the first chapter I've ever had where I was specifically like, I'm not dating right now. I'm just focused on making new friends. All that combined put me in a place where I feel, I don't know if I could say 100%, but the closest I've ever been, let's call it 98.9%, intrinsically validated. Whereas in the past it was mostly extrinsic validation. And it's funny because as soon as that shift happened and like I fully like kind of shed the desire for so much extrinsic motivation and just felt like I'm really proud of who I am and what I'm putting out there, and in living in integrity, and then operating from a place of like, I'm good, I'm great actually, regardless of the results or the outcomes of X, Y, and Z. It's more just like doing it. Everything took off. Like everything took off. Like the most incredible people just entered my life so fast. The most incredible like financial reward just like entered my life so fast. Like, everything just like flooded in. And so my heart is very grateful to have like finally arrived. I don't want to say finally, but like to have arrived there. I mean, I turned 30 not too long ago, and it kind of just like happened, but it didn't just happen. It was, 10 plus years of working for this thing, and I didn't know that's what it was. And so I feel very fortunate and blessed with an incredible community around me, incredible like understanding of who I am now, and the confidence in that. And so my heart feels very full. And I would definitely say I share the sentiment of like ready to share this with somebody, not because it's incomplete and I need someone to like fill it, but rather it's just additive and there's so much to share, and it seems just more fun to share it. That's how my heart is right now.
That's a beautiful shift. Yeah, I felt yeah.
Have you gone through a similar thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. definitely. As wonderful and amazing America is, I also, when I moved here, I started more thinking about external things, like how much money I made and what was my status. I've never thought about that in Iceland.
Yeah.
And I think that's could be a cultural thing. Then there's also, I'm not saying this is bad, because I think America is the best country in the world, and I'm so grateful for being here. But I do think, because I've always been not always, but I've been intrinsically motivated for so many years, because I'm like you, I'm just expressing myself, and I feel this moral responsibility of putting stuff out there that have experiences and training and education in to help people live a better life, and that's my intention. I don't give a shit if it gets 5,000 views, 1,000 views, or 100,000 views. I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I've been doing this for social media, I think, for 8 years.
Yeah.
That being said, like, it has sneaked up on me sometimes. Like, I've been more focused after I went viral on Instagram, like how many likes is this video getting, or how many views is it getting, and why is it not the ratio of likes and shares compared to another person that's doing the similar thing as me doing. Like, I've fallen into that trap for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say, though, because I'm so secure within myself, aligned with my values, I know who I am, I know where I'm going roughly, that it doesn't matter. And if you come from a place of giving and adding value and expressing yourself in your truest and highest form, the universe will reward you. If you want something badly enough, the universe will conspire it to happen. It's the quote from The Alchemist.
Yeah.
And that's just whether you want to put that as definitely energy to yourself, because we know from studies that being intrinsically motivated beats extrinsic motivation and eats that for breakfast all day long.
Yeah.
But it's also from an energy perspective, like what energy you're putting out
Totally.
in the world.
Yeah. I had a lot of big shifts in the last year, especially. One of the big ones is realizing like how true it is that if you essentially say you want something, like I want a fulfilling relationship, unless you're atheist, I think pretty much everyone has some sort of conversation with a higher power, whether they call it God or the universe or source or creator or light or whatever. The general understanding there is like, okay, if you're saying, for example, I want a fulfilling relationship, God or universe or source or light is going to give you quite a few unfulfilling relationships to like put you through these tests to then almost earn what you want. Or if you say, I want to be really patient, like I'm such an impatient person, I want to have more patience. I'm going to give you a lot of things like right now and force you to like shed them off or have the discipline to not get them yet. I'm going to force you to learn patience by give you a lot of things to be impatient about for a while. And it's pretty wild to see like, oh, looking back over the last 30 years of my life, how many things were presented my way that were completely counter to what I actually wanted. But then when I worked through them and learned and grew, I got the thing that I wanted. Now I get to have that. On to the next one. Like, what a wonderful experience we call life if you choose to look at it that way.
Yeah.
That was a big one for me this past year. I don't actually know why that just came up, but I felt it needed to probably be said on the mic during this episode.
No, it's just the universe or whatever you want to call it. It's just seeing Jake in his normal life and like, I'm going to put some challenges to that.
100%. Always has. Always has.
And then that's the same cliche you go through is beyond the past, this past life, the past year, the 3 years or something, it was by far the hardest years of my life. Like, I thought I was always going to be happy, Jake. I'm a happy guy. I'm extroverted. I'm happy. I'm always like positive. Yeah. And I was like, I understand that other people could suffer, but I don't really yes, I've suffered like from like loss of a family member or like voluntarily suffering with discipline and stuff. But I was like, I haven't really suffered. And I was kind of wishing I would suffer, experience stuff. And then just this, whatever you want to call it, puts a lot of test on my plate, on my life. I mean, stopped playing soccer. So it was a career transition. I broke up with my girlfriend for 8 years. I moved to America. I lost a family member all in like 2 years in a sense. And like just going through all of that, although it was really, really painful, But going through all of that has made me the person I am today and given me all of these realizations that I needed to hear. Yeah. And this deep common human experience and realizing what matters and what don't matters and all of the learning. So it's just like, it's the cliche of like, it's not a cliche, it's just like tough times make you stronger, mature, better person if you choose to let it to do so.
Yeah. The closing question that I have for you that we ask everyone on this podcast, we didn't really talk about like manhood or masculinity a whole lot, which is the theme of the show. But the question is, what do you think it means to be a man nowadays?
Using your strengths to contribute to something beyond yourself.
Nice.
I would say that's what it means to be a man today.
Yeah.
First of all, we would just talk about, let's say, work. If you use your strength to contribute to something beyond yourself, that's going to give you a lot of purpose. And I think provider or not a provider, that's always going to give you a purpose. But also using and developing your strengths, if you talk about the protection part, because you want to be spiritually, emotionally, physically strong. And when I say emotionally strong, of course, people think I'm talking about being just purely stoic. And I'm talking about that. I'm talking about being strong enough to experience your emotions and choosing what you want to do with them.
Yeah.
And that could be I'm experiencing anger, and I'm choosing to channel that in the gym or whatever. But I'm not being reactive of the anger and telling everybody to beat it because I'm angry. So having that under control, but allowing yourself to feel it. And if you trust somebody, express it. There's nothing wrong with that. Because I don't think I think you know this. It's not about, oh, I'm stoic or I'm going to be like 100% vulnerable. It's somewhere in between. So if I can be vulnerable, at the same time I can be strong, I think that is what a healthy version of masculinity today needs. Yeah. It's like, at the same time I can tell you, Jake, like something on my mind, like whatever. I'm stressed about something and I want to tell you that. But at the same time, you know that I could walk to this door and I could conquer the world in a sense. So I don't think it's like either or. I think it's being both at the same time. And I think if women perceive that, especially in men, I think that's okay. But if you're just vulnerable, talking about your problems all day and revealing everything about you without showing also the masculine strength side, I think that's not good. And I also don't think it's not good to be only stoic, masculine strength, never showing emotions.
Yeah.
Of course, it's somewhere in between. So that is what means to be a man today. It's having the strength to contribute to something beyond yourself, both by providing and protecting.
Love it, dude. Thank you. How can people find you online?
Probably best just Instagram, Beggie Olafs. I'm working on my webpage and working on many creative projects, but for now, Beggie Olafs.
Big ass Instagram following, so lots going to grow here. And you have a very exciting couple years ahead of you, I'm sure.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure and
this was fun.
Loved coming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This was great.